it's about setting the priorities for goals. And he said, you look at something that you want to do. Is it one day or is this day one? And he fired me up. And I said, dang it, I am no longer going to let this, kind of have a thumb on me. This is day one that I'm going to create a curriculum. I'm going to learn how to teach. What's the best way to teach? How can I do this in an effective way? It pushed me through the year, took 7 months to develop what we have now as the Joe Cipriano online promo masterclasses.
George the Tech.
Hi, everybody. George the Tech here again with another incredible trusted partner profile interview. And I know it's incredible because I have somebody who's so beloved in the voiceover community and by myself as well as a client and a friend for so many years in our business. His energy is infectious and he just brings so much positivity, which is perfect timing for what we need right now. So let me bring you on camera today, our good friend and an amazing coach as well, Joe Cipriano. How you doing, Joe?
Wow. Thank you. I'm doing great, George. What a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Nothing like some coffee to get the brain cells
That's
firing.
right. I got mine going right here. Yeah.
Well, so it's coffee o'clock where I am, but not where you are. Where are you right now?
We're in West Palm Beach. We're spending kind of like half and half throughout the year. Los Angeles is home, no doubt about it. And where my studio bricks is that you and I put together. I think it's about 5 years now, George.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, look at how many studios you've done for me, and we can talk about that. My favorite was the one in Bel Air. That was a ground up build in an ADU house in the back. Oh my gosh.
That's the one everybody still talks about.
The clubhouse. And it was incredible. But you know how things have changed. When we built that, we needed that. I needed that. I remember doing videos for you. I had helicopters overhead because we were pretty close to UCLA Medical, and videotaping outside with, and I go, okay, George, I'm going inside. Click. Nothing. It was awesome. It was great. So
the most satisfying thing ever. And I'll tell you, Joe, doing your studio was, well, I mean, it's been a long time, but you probably still have some PTSD. I mean, that was a massive, massive renovation on the home. And we were interlacing the studio renovation or build really with the rest of the big project, right? So we would do a little bit of work in the studio that we might have the framers, right? And the framers do their thing.
True. We were using the same contractor. It's right.
Yes, it was very cleverly done. You had it really thought out, but we had another fellow who was like the project manager and he was like the battle axe guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it was complex. And I'll be honest, for me, it was a first time thing. You
How cool.
put a tremendous amount of faith in my ability to pull that off. And it was a bit nerve wracking for me. And when it was finished, first of all, it was complex. It was a complex build because it was in your cabana pool house, and the cabana pool house was an old building and a newer building melded together. The studio was actually in two portions of the
portions of it. Yes.
It was complex, right? So when you sent me that video, however many months later it was, and you said, and then you shut the door, and then I hear you go, into your U87.
Yeah.
That was, I can't tell you how satisfying that was. I mean, for you, but for me, man, what a sigh of relief.
It was incredible. Yeah. So we're half the year here in West Palm Beach, half the year in Los Angeles because my daughter and her family, my two grandkids that I never post pictures of. You probably don't know what they look like. That's not true. I post pictures all the time. Are here. So we're back and forth. But now my son and his wife in LA are about to have a child. And so we will have grandkids on both coasts. But it's still a back and forth thing. And I love it here. I love it at home. My friends are at home. You're there. All my pals, Townsend and Reno and Jack Daniel. And we all get together whenever we can. And also the Don LaFontaine voiceover lab and what you've done there and what
I mean, you and I could talk for hours because I mean the amount of history that we've shared starting but with Don LaFontaine and moving forward is
Yeah.
legendary. I mean, we could talk for hours and
That's true,
hours on
and Don was alive, and, you were doing video stuff for him, right?
Oh, it was
Creating the
yeah, his
video.
hobby was editing,
Yeah,
making videos. He loved
yeah,
making videos, which is what I do now, which is kind of
yeah,
fun.
that
But,
funny.
back then, Don was shooting mostly his family. That was his love, his daughters. And I would
So
sit there
sweet.
and he'd make a video and watch it together. And I'd look over at watches, and I'd see a tear just roll down his eye
Oh,
like this.
Don.
And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And that changed everything from being like, oh, God, this guy's a scary, influential guy to like he's a dad and he's got a big heart, and then I
Yeah.
really got to connect to him, and we had a lovely time in our short time together, but we had a lovely
I
time
love that. Don,
together.
I met you
Yeah.
and actually and then, when Don passed, I mean, even before that, you were working for a lot of other voiceover people, but, I think then when we started building because of Paul Pape saying, "We've gotta do something," and coming up with what it would be, and it became the
Yes.
lab, the amount of time, George, listen, when you talk about the amount of time and work and energy and also, trepidation doing my studio, working on that when we finally finished it. And if you were to count up the hours that you dedicated to that and donated, I
I tried to
remember,
count up the hours. It was
yeah,
a very big number.
I
And
remember being on
yeah.
stage, at the opening, and we were all up together. And emotionally, it just all hit you, and it was,
Yes.
such a wonderful, amazing moment. It really, really was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And now we're flashing forward 12 years later, 13 years later, we have a new lab. It's just even more insanely over the top and incredible, and it lives
unbelievable.
on and thrives.
Yep, yep,
Incredible.
yep,
If you guys
and we're
wanna
still
know more
working.
about it, yeah, it's SAG After Foundation, SAG dash Foundation, and you can read about the Don
Yeah.
LaFontaine Lab and the Actors Center.
Yes.
Just, but so
So, yeah, so there you have
your
it.
journey in a book, so we don't need to go there, right? You
Right,
guys
exactly.
chose book, Living on Air Adventures in Broadcasting, and the audiobook is absolutely a must listen, as you would imagine. It is incredibly beautifully produced. It's got vignettes, it's got production. It's awesome.
And may
It
I,
is
throw out a thank you to AJ McKay for that. That's the first time that I worked with AJ McKay. He did the whole production. It always seems like people who work with me, he was the same thing. At the end of it, he said, "Oh my God, the amount of work I put into that, I am never gonna do an audio book again." Poor AJ.
was an audiobook plus. It was a
Plus,
much
I
bigger
wanted it
thing.
to be a little bit more like a radio play. We
Yeah,
did original music with Greg Chun, and, it was awesome, and Maurice Tobias directed it. So, wow.
it's an incredible tour de force of
Yeah.
talent, and it's all these people worked with, and but again, that shows your character because instead of you going, "Well, I need to go top Hollywood people that, have done 1,000 of these," you're like, "No, I'm gonna go with my circle of people that I love and trust and wanna work with," and I don't know if necessarily I mean, they're all talented, but let's just give it a go, and you trusted AJ, and he came
Yeah.
flying colors. You trusted me, with your that means a ton, man.
Yeah. Well, I've been lucky. I've met some incredible people along the way, you included. I guess I'm very happy that maybe I have a good, barometer for people
Yeah,
and for
mhm,
quality of people. I've
that's
been
what it
very
means.
fortunate, lucky with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've trusted people that I know from my personal life into projects. It doesn't always go that great. I have this growing cadre of amazing talent that entering the sphere of coaching. And you've
Mm.
coached for a while, but you have
Mhm.
come up with this really amazing program. Not only that, just like a system and gotten teasers of it, and it's really impressive. So, give
Thank
us a
you.
little background and how it came together.
Well, just quickly, the ramp up to it. I was always asked to coach promos, come to VO Atlanta, come to different
Yep.
conferences, go to VO retreats and things like that. And I would do it because I wanted to do it. I wanted to give back. But quite honestly, I never felt comfortable in coaching and teaching. I know great coaches and I know great directors, and I felt, geez, I don't know if I have that quality about me, because I look at a script, George, and kind of like Don, I learned from Don. Don and I were the voices of the Fox network in those early years from when it went on the air for 20 years. And we would just crisscross in studios. He's doing drama, I'm doing comedy. Sometimes we're doing combos together, but he was the same. I mean, he was a great actor, but he could look at a script and know, okay, this is what I need to do with this. And I have that as well, maybe not as, precise as Don, but I look at a script, and so I just do it because inherently I know what needs to be done. And so my shortcoming was in, how do I teach? I'm not so sure I can direct. I can't tell people how I do it. And I finally got tired of that, because I would go into these coaching situations live and I would still feel a little uncomfortable. I'm a very confident person, but that's the one area that I felt that my confidence was lacking. And I got tired of it. And it was New Year's 2023. I woke up. Ann and I were with friends in Orlando, Florida. We had done a great New Year's and everything. I'm scrolling through Instagram, and there's The Rock. And The Rock, it was the morning of New Year's, and he said, "Hey, I want to share something with you guys. I have this quote on my desk, and I refer to it all the time. And it's about setting the priorities for goals." And he said, "You have to decide, is you look at something that you want to do, is it one day or is this day one?" And he fired me up. And I said, dang it, I am no longer going to let this, kind of have a thumb on me. This is day one that I'm going to create a curriculum. I'm going to learn how to teach. What's the best way to teach? How can I do this in an effective way? I want to do it online. It pushed me through the year, took 7 months to develop what we have now as the Joe Cipriano online promo masterclasses, finding the platform for it, which my daughter-in-law, Sarah Cipriano, found. And she is a graphic designer. She's a social media superstar, awesome designer. And she designed the whole look of it. We figured out how we're getting scripts up, how we're going to get people to read to video, because that's part of the class. So I'm teaching like 3 different types of promo sessions that you will encounter, whether the spot's not cut yet, the spot is cut, and you have to view it and match the timings, and then the reading to picture part of it. Everything was going great until we got to reading the picture, and it's like, I should have known. This was like what happened to us with ISDN when I first bought a Telos in 1992, and Fox and I hooked up, and I go, hello, and they go, hello, and I hear myself say hello again. What's that? I don't know. What's that? Oh my God. You're kidding me. There's a delay? How are we going to read the picture?
And what you guys don't know is the irony of irony. The live stream that we're using to record this is out of sync from picture about 3 or 4 seconds. Obviously, for the video, it'll be fixed. But,
we had to figure out how we're going to do this. And a brilliant mixer, Steve Carlton, we were on 24 track at the time. There was no digital. He said, I wonder if I put the audio from the spot on a different track and move it 10 frames earlier, and then send that to Joe. He reads to that. And by the time it comes back, it'll be 10 frames later and will match up with the spot that we're watching. It became known as slipping. And that's how we did it, and how everybody since then was able to read to spots on ISDN and Source Connect.
So that means he had to route out through probably a delay and adjust the delay time until he could get things to match. I mean, that's nowadays it's literally just a track in Pro Tools. You hit slip, you go to slip mode, and you drag and done.
When I got to this part in the online book, and I couldn't figure out how we were going to read to picture without having a delay. If you just have it up, if say you're doing it in your studio and the audio is coming out of your speakers, when you speak, it cancels out the audio. you know? So little things like, okay, just putting the spot, I have a QR code. You shoot the QR code with this, you have the spot here now, and then you just hold it up and you read to it. It's got 3 beeps and you do it, or you could do it with your iPad. So you use another source to run the
Yeah, but the
spot and
simplicity,
use the
that's the
mic.
key thing is it's
Exactly.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Thinking,
We could have come up with a mix minus sort of thing. If you do this, if you bus it this way, but you got to make it easy. People can take the course. They can be in their studio if they want, or they could take the course on their cell phone or their iPad, and it's asynchronous, George, as you know. So, and that's the brilliance of this platform. And we had to make some changes to the platform. I got to know the guy who owns it. And he's a brilliant guy. And he's helped me along the way and has actually gone back to his tech people and said, okay, this one guy that is using our platform needs this. And
this
like,
one
you're
guy.
kidding me. But this one guy needs this. And, I might have to wait, but they get it done for me. And
That's
he
awesome.
helped. And the cool thing about asynchronous and in teaching and the epiphany from The Rock and getting it done and having a curriculum is I wanted it to be personal, right? I wanted to work one-on-one. And when we found this, asynchronous, for those that don't know, I mean, you know the definition of the word, but it's a use in online teaching that I think is going to be used more and more and more. It allows you personal one-on-one, you and me, dealing with your read, my reaction to your read, and my direction to your read. And then you coming back and saying, okay, Joe, can you explain this to me? I don't quite get it. I go back and I say, oh, sure, I get it. It's a conversation, right? But it's over the
Mhm.
course of a span of time, anywhere from an
Yes.
hour to 2 days. You are notified that your coach has left a video or audio message for you inside the platform in our booklet where the script and the promos are. You're notified. You're working. You're busy. You can't get back in for a day. You go back in. You view it. You react to it. You do the read over again. I get a notification. Maybe I can't get back for a day. So the time in between doesn't matter. This is what I love. It's so brilliant about it. There could be a span of 3 days, but you're still working one-on-one, talking to one another. It was mind-blowing to me. So that's the basis of the whole course.
So the whole concept of asynchronous training is something I want to adopt for what we do for our customers as well, because it's so effective. I know I'm good at teaching and I'm doing a lot of videos and they're helping people, but I feel like we could help on such a deeper level
Yeah.
with that additional interaction, and I have the follow-up part of it because that was what I couldn't solve. So I'm going to be finding out more about how you're doing it.
Well, you know what? There are a lot of ways to do it. Just doing a Google search, you'll see all of the online teaching platforms. Because we were in it pretty early, we had to proprietize a lot of it and make changes and go through with these guys to make the changes that they don't make available to other clients, which I think is amazing. But, nobody had used it in a way that I'm using it. They were using it more for presentations and kind of static PDFs and all of that sort of stuff. And the main part of the platform is a communication tool that was only meant for side conversations. And I made it the centerpiece of the entire piece, which was, they were like, okay, we're going to have to dedicate a lot more server space to this because
Right. Yeah.
we didn't expect videos and audio and text to be going up. And I got them just this year to allow us to upload rather than record live, which the students love because now you can do everything in your studio. You can edit. You could do whatever you want. A lot of voiceover people, as you know, George, are very sensitive to what they sound like. And
Yes.
they were just sounding like,
Just
unprocessed
raw.
audio.
Yeah,
Right.
just raw.
And so
Totally
now
raw.
if they want to EQ it, whatever it is they want to do, I always say it's not the quality of the recording, it's the quality of the read. So don't worry about it. I can hear
But still,
what you're doing. So now they can do that and they can output it and then they upload it in our communicator. So it makes it even better.
I love this because this is such a parallel story to the way we built our new website, where I found an existing platform and development group that created Jennifer Hale's website called skillshub.life. And so I was like, you have built a tremendous amount of what I need. Now let's build my site and adapt it. So you find a team that's built something and you say, can you adapt this? Can you adapt this? And I love that they've been willing to do that and work with you.
Well, it's just the culmination of, what made me so happy, that initial inspiration from Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and saying, dang it, I'm going to do something about this. And then going through the journey, it's been really wonderful. Now, listen, this is what you really call niche teaching. I'm only teaching promos, and I'm not going to teach commercials. I'm not going to teach narration or anything. I mean, of course I do, in show and I do live and all of that, but still, this is where I'm focused. My love is promos. I'm most comfortable with it, and I feel I have the most to offer. To go through all of the discovery, and then implement it. And now it's been up and running for a year and a half. The response from the students and the experience has been wonderful. I have a friend who was very involved with University of Phoenix in getting them up and building them. And now he's working with some other online teaching facilities as well. And he was saying, the true litmus test of anything online in teaching is your graduation rate. You have to have a high graduate rate.
That's what I was going to get to. So I was kind of curious about how things are going.
So we've been very fortunate, even though it's a go at your own pace sort of thing. And I literally have students that have been in it for 6 months. They're still moving forward. It was meant to be like this because we have busy schedules. You're busy. Yes. I'm busy. Somebody gets an audition and a job from it, and and then life.
I was going to ask you, your students overwhelmingly are working professionals already, correct?
Exactly. So this allows the go at your own pace. And you don't lose anything from it, and you can jump back into it at any time. But our graduate rate is 100%. It just is how long it takes.
So it could take 2 weeks to a month. It could take 6 months or more.
Absolutely. And for me, I can jump right back in, because what I do is if I get a notification, I go in and somebody is doing a read, I go up a couple of videos or audio in the timeline, and then I can see what my direction was. I can hear their previous read, what my direction was, and then boom, I'm caught up. It takes me 40 seconds to catch up on where I am.
Brilliant, man. I love that. Do you have a success story you want to share at all? Like a student that stands out? I mean, you have a lot, I'm sure. But.
So many, Marie Westbrook, who Marie is such a talent, and she is a good example of somebody who takes the masterclass, because the masterclass is geared towards working professionals in promo who want to do more. And she was already doing very, very well. But since the class, she says that her bookings have just jumped, and her confidence.
This is a big thank you and shout out to Joe Cipriano and his online promo masterclass, which was a fantastic mentorship program. I can attest to the fact that my bookings afterward definitely went next level. And not only that, but I felt like I had the confidence and the know-how to really be ready for the sessions that came to follow.
High Potential is your next obsession.
Yes!
High Potential, new Tuesdays on ABC.
So, thank you so much.
But she has been great. And, other talent that have taken the class, it's about success and moving your career forward. And it can be bookings, but you know what? It can also be, like, for example, with Greg Stepp, was to get to a point where he could do a promo demo with Chuck Duran. And that was his next step. And now he has this awesome promo demo.
I've never experienced anything quite like the Joe Cipriano Promo Masterclass, and now I'm proud to say I'm a graduate. One-on-one with Joe, you get to learn promo techniques, tips, and tricks of the trade that only he can share with you. And it prepared me to record my new promo demo with Chuck Duran.
For exclusive access you can't get anywhere else. Unseen highlights, stellar analysis.
I'm excited that we back.
From the best in the game. Go inside the NFL, now on the CW.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate the help and the continued support.
We know how this stuff goes. We are realistic about coaching, and we know that going through a program and getting a demo does not instantly create a job out of the ethers. It's
Exactly.
a journey, right? It's a process.
It is. And it really is about moving forward and gaining the knowledge, using that knowledge, putting it into use, and then that keeps moving you down the timeline. Listen, I love this idea of, is it one day? Is it a one-day goal, or is this day one? I mean, you have to commit to it and move forward.
Yeah, at first when you said the one day, day one, I was like, one day. Oh, you mean like one day?
One day,
I will do it.
Or it could be like, I'm gonna do this one day.
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
it's the same thing. This is day one. I am doing it.
No more one day. Now it's day one. What a great quote! And I love that it fell on. Was it New Year's Day that you saw?
New Year's morning.
Yeah, go Rock. The Rock has got his social media game is strong.
Huge. Yeah.
It's not the only thing that's strong about the man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's such a pleasure hearing that story, because I hadn't heard that story yet, and we've known each other a long time, and I love hearing how that came together and that it's working for people. Again, it inspires me to want to do better in terms of the way we teach and improve our methods. And we're going to be doing that thanks to you. How do people, if they're ready and they want to know more, how do they come and find what you're doing?
You can go to promomasterclass.com, and that page is dedicated to showing examples and getting you ready, determining whether you want to do the intro course or if you want to do the masterclass. I have a lot of people that come in when I do like an X session at VO Atlanta or at TVO, where we do the mastery classes and things like that. Dependent upon that, we decide on where's the best. If I have somebody that comes in out of the blue, I go, take the intro class and get a feel for it. You're going to do every type of promo that's out there, every style of promo session. You'll know immediately, gosh, do I love this, or does this scare the heck out of me?
Now on the billboard, on the title of the website, can you give me an ABC on that? I need to hear 3 different reads on that promomasterclass.com.
Of course. ABC's for speed.
That's true. Well, it's a pleasure. I've derailed my thought because I find something I think is funny in my head and I get stuck on it, and I can't think of anything else to say.
That's the nice thing about editing.
Well, I appreciate your time, Joey. I know you're busy and you've got a lot going on, and I'm so glad you're getting to enjoy your family as well, and being on both coasts is a blessing. I mean, it's so cool, and you're a role model to me. I will tell you that with all complete honesty. So thank you so much for being here with us.